Now, I'm not going to lie, the thought of going trout fishing in the middle of winter when it's 2 degrees, getting up at 5 a.m. and fishing in a tinny, it didn't fill me with inspiration. It's so cold down here, you have to carry little hand warmers in your pockets just to keep your circulation flowing. But I went fishing anyway, and when that tiger trout came up shimmering in the morning light, I thought, sleep when you're dead. What makes it all the more special down here is fishing in these ancient volcanic lakes, less than 3 hours from Melbourne and only an hour north of the shipwreck coast. So the craters here, they were formed some 20,000 years ago. They're roughly circular with a flat floor and steep walls. So there are about 30 craters here in the Western District between Colac and Warrnambool. We're visiting two, Lake Bullen, Merri, which is about 70 metres deep, making it the deepest natural lake in Victoria, and Lake Purrumbete, which is about 45 metres deep. So Bullen Merri behind me is saline. Purrumbete to the south of me is quite brackish because it has inflows and outflows, but the lake just to the west of us here is so salty, it's actually saltier than the ocean. And nothing lives there. Don't ever go there. We're fishing with local legend Maz and his mate Steve in his Quintrex. This thing is probably the most extensively fitted out freshwater fishing boat we've ever come across. We're going to jump on board with the lads as soon as they stop arguing about the trolling speed. It's been a real point of contention on this trip. This could be a punch on.
Right, there's a big hot topic about trawling speed.
There is a debate on trolling speed.
I like to watch my lures, just have a look at the action, you know, and just adapt my speed to that. I like it a little bit slower.
I like to troll at a brisk pace. Maz can generally troll, I consider, too slow sometimes.
We're also not sure if there's enough room on this boat. Maz has a serious collection of lures. The man is sick.
I have a serious lure problem. I'm an addict.
He's got way too many lures. He seems to have an affinity with tackle stores wherever he goes. They all know him. If it's made and it's out there and it's for trout, I'm sure he's had it or got it.
It's like buying candy, I don't know, it's like Christmas decorations, I guess. I'd hate to know what I've spent over the years, but I don't mind. It's a passion, I love it, so. No, I've been coming here since I was probably, I think 15 years old. So it's been a 30 plus years. Once I come here the first time, never looked back, loved the place. You know, it's one of the only places in Australia outside of North America you can actually catch a trophy Chinook salmon. You know, personally, I've caught myself a 5 kilo fish over the last few years. Yeah, outside of North America, this is the only place you'll catch a Chinook salmon in this hemisphere. Yeah, it's gorgeous. Sometimes when you come out to these lakes, it's like your private little pond. You're the only person on the lake for the whole day, and it's so accessible from Melbourne, so close. Nice and relaxing. There's no big bloody waves and swell and salt water, and you don't get bashed around too hard. Yeah, so happy with Victorian fisheries, the way they stock these lakes. 20,000 brown trout, 10,000 rainbows. They just stock it so heavily. The growth rate's great in these lakes of these fish. These fish can get up to 5 kilos in 3 years. It's phenomenal. Yeah, fishing with Steve on his real big Quintrex.
This is my 590 Quintrex Frontier.
He must be compensating for something, maybe.
Sort of ordered to my specs. The kicker motor I've added, the Minn Kota electric I've added, 24 volts, just little bits and pieces. For fishing the lakes here, this boat works well. It's a shallow draft, it's quite heavy, so it tracks true. And being a side console, you always seem to be in touch with the instruments, but it works really well here. You can fit all your gear in there, pack all your stuff in the front, plenty of storage. So the hull design really works well in whether you're cruising or you're at rest. It's very, very stable boat. The gunnel width at the top does allow you to mount whatever you want to. So we've got downriggers mounted on the back, solid mounted. They'll be there forever. Electronics, a Simrad NSS 03, I think it's called, in a 12-inch screen. Yeah, 150 Merc on the back, 4-stroke, quiet as a mouse, fuel efficient, plenty of power. Well, this particular version of it has two fuel tanks. I specifically wanted 2 for a longer range, but it was probably a bit overkill because the 150 Merc on the back is really fuel efficient. Fuel economy, when you're running the kicker motor all day, you're probably lucky to use 10 litres. and obviously running the electric, there's no fuel. That's your standard pin for the ladder, which I've custom made this bracket. It's done too pretty, but it does the job. It's structurally sound. You can power tilt up and down, fully lock it up, and it doesn't move. Bit unsightly, but practicality wise, it works pretty good. iTroll works in conjunction with the kicker, which is basically sitting at the helm here. You can control the functions on the kicker motor, which is RPM predominantly, throttle position, and duration of the throttle position. The finish of the boat's really good. I'm really happy with the paint job in particular. They've done a really good job with the paint. So it does also have a self-draining deck, which is handy. Some of the places we go, it rains for 2 or 3 days on end. Very rarely do I hear the bilge pump. Very rarely at all. This is my interpretation of a fishing boat, but you don't necessarily need to have a big fancy looking machine to catch fish. It makes no difference to the fish how they get caught. They've got none the wiser. Don't think that you can't come down here if you haven't got a fancy boat. You only need a little tinny, as we saw some people yesterday who had no idea what they were doing. We're catching plenty of fish.
You're gonna have to do that again.
On its right day, it's productive. Pot luck sometimes wins, sometimes not.
Like weather's got a lot to do with it. The barometer, rising barometer, moon phases. Like it's amazing. One day you'll come here, it'll be shut down. You barely catch a fish. Next day you'll come here and just be fish after fish. They just turn on. It's amazing. Like you've come to an inland lake and you'll see bait balls, and you'll see birds diving, and you'll see fish bubbling up to the surface, and yeah, bait balls of minnow getting smashed by trout, and you're going, wow. It's like you're out tuna fishing, you're looking for the birds on some of these lakes. It's amazing. Best time of year to go fishing at these lakes. Personally, any time of the year, because you can come down here through the dead of summer, super hot. These lakes are so deep, the fish will just go deep. You've got downriggers and stuff. It's harder on the general person, but if you've got the right gear, you can get down deep. The fish sleep, the water's so cold. In the thermal clines, just trawl deeper and stuff, you'll pick up fish. Through the winter, they'll be up on the surface. You're watching the sound, you've got thermal clines, and you're looking for the fish, which depth they're at. They might be at right on the surface feeding, they might be feeding at 10, 15 metres down. Get down to that level where the fish are feeding, and yeah, just trawl through them, find the right speed, and always, that's a big thing, speed and lures. Light rods, very light tackle. 2 to 4 kilo, 1 to 2 kilo rods. 6 pound line, very light braid. Just play the fish, enjoy it. Don't just scull drag the thing in. Just enjoy it, enjoy the fight. If you lose them, it doesn't matter. I release 95% of my fish. We very rarely keep any fish. It's just the joy of getting out here and just having a go. Hey! It's not a big fish, but yeah, they're a bit of fun. Oh, there he goes. It's not a big fish, but yep, called it. Could have some nice little couple of pound rainbow trout on a Tassie Devil style lure. It's actually called a sting lure. It's usually like 2 to 4 kilo outfit, 6 pound line, nice little fight.
Well, we traditionally have a little bit of a nip at the end of the day. So yesterday was no different. It was cold, so we had a little bit of a nip. I might have had a bit more than a nip. It was a little bit dusty this morning. Just like to get outdoors, get outside, outdoors with like-minded people. That's always good, and fishing complements that, We have fun whether we're catching fish or not. Maz is a better fisherman than me. Maz will tell you that he's better too.